Rock's January and February saw him in two build-ups at the same time, with the match against Ken Shamrock booked for WrestleMania 14, and the Farouk Nation split built throughout, with them teasing turning on each other, resulting in them accidentally costing the other his matches. The Rock Nation and Shamrock feud was involved in two peak segments during the month, with one of them doing a 3.9 rating to start Raw on January 26, with part of it being Raw's boosted interest coming off the Tyson debut angle a week earlier. Rock continued to establish himself as one of the top heels in the business, coming out to major heat on a weekly basis, with his pre-match promo and tag match with Farouk against Shamrock and Chains picking up over 900,000 viewers to a 3.6 rating. Shawn Michaels continued perhaps the biggest run of his career with DX as the WWF champion, heading into the most hyped WrestleMania since the previous boom period, with the triangle build-up of Michaels, Austin and Tyson dominating the shows and the edgy DX antics getting over, resulting in them doing a special announcement segment mocking the TV network complaints on the language used to start Raw on February 2nd. With Michaels and Hunter campaigning for an Austin vs. Tyson match to get Shawn out of defending the belt. Michaels and Austin started a series of angles to build the Mania main event, with the press conference footage on February 9th drawing Raw's peak 3.6 rating. Coming off the highest-profile segment of his career to date with a blitz of publicity not seen in years for the WWF, Steve Austin came out for the follow-up on January 26, challenging Mike Tyson to show up. A week later, Austin and Michaels started to shift the focus to set up their pay-per-view main event, with Raw starting with a 3.6 rating. 3 days later, on Thursday, in a hyped press conference coming in perfect timing for the WWF, with Mike Tyson making his first public appearance after being involved in one of the most publicized controversies in combat sports history with the split from promoter Don King, the match was officially announced, with footage of it shown the following Monday doing a peak 3.6 rating, on a Raw that also included a show-long angle of Austin stealing Michaels' belt. The build-up to the Outlaws vs. Foley and Funk Mania tag match went to the next level with one of the most talked-about angles of the year on February 2nd. Starting with a Funk vs. Cactus Jack hardcore match drawing a 3.9 rating, the Outlaws came out for the finish, pushing both off the stage in a dumpster in a segment that was sold on TV as a shoot injury, in the process elevating Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, with the scene of Foley and Funk in the ambulance drawing a peak 4 rating. Raw's highest opposed quarter during the month. Foley and Funk vs. the Outlaws' other big number of the month came a week before in a hardcore tag match, jumping over 600,000 viewers to a 3.8 rating. With Goldberg's reactions growing by the week with every match, the question of him breaking through to a main event spot turned from an if to a when. Goldberg's crowd reaction in the buildings also started to translate to business as the company started promoting his matches during the head-to-head hours with Raw, bumping Nitro over 300,000 viewers to a near-peak 5 rating in a match against Mark Starr on February 2nd, while his most talked-about match of the month happened a week later against Regal, which saw Regal attempting to sabotage it by sandbagging and no-selling, resulting in him getting fired shortly after, with the match gaining over 500,000 viewers to a 4.7 rating. After months of build-up, the Nash vs. Giant match saw an unexpected finish, with Giant landing on his neck from Nash's powerbomb that nearly resulted in serious injury, leading to the company playing off that and banning the move, with Nash fined and arrested every time he uses it, with the jackknife as a result getting more over than ever. Nash ended January in a match with Ray Traylor, which saw him arrested after using the move, while 2 weeks later he headlined Nitro in a tag titles match with Hall against the Steiner brothers, ending the month with Giant coming back to set up their next meeting the following week. Scott Hall was in the main event of 3 of the 4 shows during the month, starting on January 26th in a match with Lex Luger, then a tag titles match against the Steiners in the build to Scott turning heel to join the NWO, with Hall's biggest number coming on February 23rd in a promoted main event title match against Sting, drawing a 5.1 rating, which turned into a segment to hype their match for the uncensored pay-per-view. Hall's other number saw him bumping WCW over 400,000 viewers to a 4.8 rating in a match against Jim Neidhart in a quarter, which also included Hall's promo with Dusty, going on at the same time of the follow-up of the Foley and Funk dumpster angle on Raw to a record combined audience of 8.8 rating. The build-up to the Sting vs. Hogan rematch at Super Brawl was in the final stages after drawing the biggest pay-per-view in company history at Starrcade '97, with the Sting NWO rivalry overlapping the in-house NWO issues of Savage and Hogan, as the company promoted one of the biggest matches in show history for the February 2nd Nitro, with Sting wrestling only his second TV match in the last 18 months against Savage, drawing a peak 5.1 rating. A week later, with Luger out to confront the NWO, Sting came out for the save with a net falling from the roof in the build-up to the pay-per-view, drawing a near-peak 4.8 rating, while a day after beating Hogan to win the title, new WCW champion Sting was promoted to defend the belt against Scott Hall to close out a month in the main event, doing another show-high 5.1. With more potential money matches than at any point since the peak of the 80s boom period and more leverage than any wrestler in history, Hulk Hogan entered contract negotiations with his WCW deal about to expire, leading to inevitable talks of a return to the WWF, with JR playing off the rumors going as far as to tease Hogan appearing at the Rumble pay-per-view for a potential match with Mike Tyson at WrestleMania 14. With the build to the Hogan vs. Sting rematch continuing along with the start of the split of the NWO, WCW was hotter than ever, selling out stadiums for weekly Nitros and breaking viewership records almost on a weekly basis. Hogan's confrontation with Randy Savage and the NWO to air the issues in the group led to a record-breaking 5.3 rating on January 26. A week later, Hogan's promo to hype up the upcoming Sting and Savage matches saw another near-peak 5 rating, with the show overall setting an all-time opposed record with a 4.9, leading to the company looking to capitalize on the boosted interest and putting on one of the biggest matches in Nitro history the following week on February 9, with Hogan vs. Savage in the first NWO vs. NWO match drawing another show-high 5.1 rating. With the NWO Family Problems feud catching fire with record crowds and viewership, Randy Savage vs. Hulk Hogan 10 years after setting records in the Mega Powers program, was again the hottest feud in the industry. Savage arrived to the building on January 26th in a separate car to the group's limousine that arrived earlier, going straight to the ring and calling out the entire NWO, with the heated confrontation picking up big with over 1.3 million viewers to a record-setting 5.3 rating, making it the highest-rated segment in Monday Night Wars history. Savage continued with big numbers throughout the month, being involved in all 4 peak segments of the night. February 2nd saw him headline Nitro in a big main event against Sting, drawing a 5.1 rating, while a week later the company put on perhaps the hottest match in the business on TV, with Savage vs. Hogan gaining over a million viewers to another 5.1. as Savage and Hogan dominated TV throughout, setting up their cage match for Uncensored on February 23, with the only segment separating them in Savage's favor is the Sting match on February 2, ending the month with a 5.2 average rating.